3, 2, 1.
So tell me, how did you first become introduced to Jesu? Who brought you to the school?
Peter Miller and Mark Solomon from CMS Companies.
When you walk through the doors of Jesu, how do you perceive the school? What do you see through your eyes?
I see happy kids, motivated kids, kids that have a lot of spirit, kids that are very, very good with adults. They all say hi, and they just seem very enthusiastic to be at school. They actually probably get bummed out when you have a snow day like yesterday, which is, I'm sure, very rare.
Exactly.
When we'll probably cut Rob's questions out. So if when
That's
you
right.
answer like with the beginning of the
I
question.
forgot.
That's okay.
So you want to start with the CMS one?
Yeah. Yep. So how were you originally introduced to Jesu School?
I did some investments with a company. Sorry, I messed up again. Okay, I'll just start now.
Yeah.
I was originally introduced to Jesu by a company called CMS. Peter Miller, who was doing some investments for me, and Mark Solomon. And they brought me here about 20 years ago, and I haven't left.
Excellent. When you walk through the doors of Jesu, when you first come into school, how do you perceive the school? What do you see through your eyes?
When I walk into Jesu, the first thing you see when you see the kids, they're happy, they're smiling, they're very good with adults, they look you in the eye, they seem motivated, they have great spirit. They just seem genuinely to be very happy to actually be at school.
You've been involved with Jesu, as you said, for nearly 2 decades. What has inspired you to be so loyal to support the school for that long?
I've been with Jesu for 20 years, and I've never left being a part of Jesu. My loyalty to continue for these 20 years is because I think the school is a great school. It helps with kids from the most impoverished neighborhoods, and it does so good for the kids. They have a higher percentage go to a good high school, a higher percentage graduate high school, a higher percentage go to college, a higher percentage graduate college. Just great statistics, and it's just, you can just see it when you're here. You can see the environment, you can see the spirit, and the kids are motivated and happy, and it's a great feeling.
Can you talk about your experience sponsoring children here at the school?
My experience with sponsoring children, I've been doing that, I don't know how many years, I forget how many years you've had, sorry. My experience with sponsoring students has been wonderful. I used to pay for 2 kids to go to school, but it's been 4 for a while, and I get to see the kids several times a year. For lunches we have and play Connect 4 and play different math games and some other kinds of games, and just I get to question them and see how they're doing, what sports they're playing, and they always seem happy, and they're very nice to me, and they know that I help them, although I'm not sure exactly how they know I help them, but they're very respectful, and it's nice to keep up with the kids and know you're helping that many kids.
What do you see as the impact of sponsoring a child?
The impact of sponsoring a child is basically, if you didn't sponsor a child, then the child would not be able to attend Jesu. So it's amazing to know that you're actually helping these kids to go to the school. And if they were not being helped, they wouldn't be able to go to the school. So it's directly impactful on their lives.
When you meet with the kids, we could see that you do a lot of mentoring for them, and you do that a lot in all of your sort of other philanthropy. What does mentoring mean to you? Why do you care so much about helping these kids in that way?
I love to mentor kids. I have a center in North Philadelphia where I'm there quite often. With the Jesu kids, it's more, I see them like 4 times a year. But in general, even when I'm with the Jesu kids, I try to get inside their head, let them know people care about them, what choices are they making. And a lot of these kids don't have fathers at home, or they're working all the time, so they don't have the support that a lot of kids in richer neighborhoods have, and that's not really fair. And so I try to do my part to help the kids know that there's people that care about them, and to try to give them advice on what decisions that they make, as far as what sports and what schools and why it's important to get good grades and not get in trouble and those kinds of things.
If you could share one piece of information with people who do not know anything about Jesu, sort of selling the school, what would it be?
Well, if I had to tell someone about Jesu, sorry, we'll do that again. If I were to tell someone about Jesu that didn't know anything about Jesu, I would tell them, although it's a Jesuit school, there's kids that come from different religious backgrounds. It's for kids that do not have the economics to pay to go to prep schools, private schools. And the public school choices are not that good in Philadelphia. And the school is a gem. The kids love it. They're motivated. They leave in 8th grade. They go to great high schools. They go to college. And the kids look you in the eye, and their spirit's great. You can sense it as soon as you walk in the building. As soon as you see the kids, you know it's a great school, just by observing.
Is there one specific memory in all your years that you've been here that sort of stands out? One experience, one luncheon, one breakfast?
I can't think of maybe.
What's special?
Maybe when some kid beat me in Connect Four, but
Happens rarely.
But I don't recall if that
That's okay.
happened. And I mean, I could say at the luncheon about how the game where they put the little their cards down, and then if you match two of them.
Yeah.
I don't remember what that game is, but I was so bad at it that it made me realize, I'm not really as smart as maybe I'm not as smart as I thought I was. These kids killed me in it, but.
This might be a slight curveball one, but if you could, you've had a lot of success in life. If there's one thing that you've learned from where you've come from to where you are now that you can sort of instill in these kids, what would that be? What's one sort of motivational thing that you could tell these kids for their life?
As from what I've, sorry.
Yeah.
My life experiences, sorry, do it again.
No, take it.
If there's one thing that I could tell these kids, which I do tell these kids, that I've learned in my life, is that when you do things right, you're always happy you did. When you do things wrong, you always wish that you had not done them wrong. If you eat too much junk, you wish you didn't. If an adult drinks too much alcohol, they wish they didn't. If you go to the gym, you're glad you did. If you get your homework done and do it right and study for your test, you're always glad you did. If you don't, you always wish you did. So in life, it could be much easier if you just do the things that you're going to be happy that you did. Because everything you do that you wish you had not done, it's just going to get you more depressed. So doing things positively that you feel good about will breed the mentality to continue to do positive things. And if you back off doing homework one day, it's going to be easier to back off another day. So consistently try to do the right thing, because you will be much happier, you'll be much more successful, and it'll just be a better life for you. Which I'm realizing with injuries too. Because all my ankle now, all these injuries, they're old sprains. What you do to your body, as grandma says, will come back to get you.
Can you talk, is there any students that you continue to keep in touch with even after they left Jesu?
I'm trying to remember her name. Do you remember her name?
That's okay, you don't have to use her name, because then you don't have to worry about that, but what?
Shakira? Is it,
I have it on my.
she's going to school in Atlanta now? They
Yeah,
tried to
she's at
reach her.
Spelman School. Yep. Let's see.
Can you give me my phone? I can get it for
Is
you.
Spelman all girls?
Spelman is, yep.
It is.
This one here. Rakira.
Akira
Rakira.
Fisher.
Yep. She went to Mastery, Simon Gratz Mastery School, Mastery Charter.
That's,
My brother.
yeah.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah.
So can you tell me if there's any students that you used to sponsor that you continue to keep in touch with?
There's one student in particular, Rakira Fisher, that I still stay in touch with. And we've met several times and had lunch, and I try to help her out with what schools to choose. She ended up going to Mastery Charter, which my brother is very heavily involved in Mastery, and the one that used to be Simon Gratz. And now she's at Spelman in Atlanta, which is a great all-women's school, and so she's doing extremely well. And it's nice to actually know that helping a student with scholarships is really doing well now. I wish I knew how the other ones are doing, and maybe you can find out for me.
Perfect. Good.
We're cut.
Excellent. Great job.
Okay, that's
Okay.
it?